Hi, Matt.
How are you?
How are
It's
you?
Rama. I'm good.
Thank you so much for doing this for me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. You're welcome.
So,
Anytime.
so you and I have known each other for a really long time. We met probably something like, I don't know, 10 years,
2010. 2010. Yeah.
2010. So we met in 2010 when we were
Yeah.
both working for CDK slash ADP dealers.
Cobalt. It was
Global,
Cobalt.
ADP Digital Marketing. It was prior to CDK Global.
Correct.
So that's when we met. And I've been doing this video series because what I found is that I have all these really, really cool, smart people in my network. And you're one of
Thank
them.
you.
And I get to have you not only as a colleague, but also a friend and someone that I can go to for pretty much anything, not just business related, but anything. And I
Yeah.
thought it would be a fun opportunity for both of us to kind of highlight you and kind of talk about your story and your business perspectives and so forth.
Cool. Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. So you have been in the car business for the last 10 years.
Yep.
Prior to that, you were working selling yellow pages. So this was pre-social, pre-digital,
Yeah.
pre-everything. Like
2002.
2002. So like myself, you also worked
Yeah.
in the hospitality industry as a server and bartender and all that.
Yeah.
We have that in common as well. So some of the tech companies, I'm going to roll off a list of them that you've worked for. So we talked about ADP slash Cobalt. You also work for Pure Cars, which is
Yep.
another very well-known tech company in the industry. Epsilon is another one. You've also had your own agency along the way.
Yeah.
And now you currently reside at Shift Digital. You started out within the BMW program as a consultant. And now
Yep.
you actually are one of the program managers, and you have your own team that you grew to 17 reps nationwide, which is really amazing. It's very,
Thanks.
you just graduated cum laude from, I'm not sure what school you went to, but
Page colleges. It's a little college, college in upstate New York.
you got your MBA in finance, which is also
Yep.
very amazing that you did this while working, while having 3 children. And I think you're incredible. You've got a great story.
It's hard to look back on the last 3 years and realize that I did all that at the same time, because now I can't even fathom how I had the time to do that. Non-stop working is really what that was.
So I just gave a synopsis of your history, but tell me a little bit more about your career story.
So I started like you in restaurants, and just was really good at selling, right? I mean, because that's really what restaurants are, is trying to sell appetizers and entrees and more wine and all that kind of good stuff, right? And eventually I realized I needed to get a real job that had benefits and all that kind of stuff. So I went and sold for a telecommunications company that wholesaled for Verizon. And that was kind of my first experience into sales. We had to knock on 50 doors every single day and collect 50 business cards that our manager then counted.
That
So it
sounds
was just
crazy.
non-stop cold calling. But you know what? It was an indoctrination into people saying no to you, right? So it's a really good first job in sales, because you might have gotten one person out of the day to give you the information that you needed, right? So it's literally 49 no's and 1 yes. So that kind of wore out its course. I had my first real run-in with dealers at that time, because I was selling T1s and they had lots of telecommunications needs. So I had a lot of automotive clients. And then I started selling yellow pages and just kind of went after the same people that I had sold telecom to, right? Which is dealers having full page ads in the yellow pages back then, because there was no real Google or anything else like that.
Hard to imagine a
Uh,
world without that.
it's weird. I mean, I still remember all the ad sizes, like the full page double truck, full color. Even in 2002, it was like $1,400 a month for a yellow page ad. It's kind of insane when you go back and think about it. Yeah. I mean, and then I kind of made my way to Cobalt, where you and I met, and was there, I want to say almost 4 years, before I left and went to Epsilon from there. Epsilon's a great place. There I did service marketing. So it was the other side of the business that I really didn't have much run-in with, because we weren't really talking to service directors and stuff when we were DSMs at Cobalt. We were just talking to GMs and selling DAP, right? And I left there because I wanted to get back into more heavier sales, and went to Pure Cars for a little while, which was a great place, just not the right place for me. And then I ended up at Shift and was the tri-state rep for BMW. I was the second field rep hired, and I was there for about 2.5 years before I got promoted to now overseeing the field team. So I have 17 reps underneath me today, all across the country. We touch almost every single BMW dealer except a handful in the central region, in a couple places like Oklahoma and out there where there's only a few. But yeah, so trying to continue to grow the program and make everybody happy.
So what are a couple of things right now that you would give to a business owner, regardless of what the franchise is, BMW or not BMW? What are a couple of things that dealers should be doing with their marketing right now that they're not doing, that you're seeing across the country?
Well, yeah, it's not even what they're not doing. I don't think they're consistent enough at showcasing what they're kind of offering. Like, there's not a lot of content about like pick up and drop off or curbside delivery, or what they're doing in terms of COVID with cleaning and all that type of stuff. Are there some that have that on their website? Sure. Is it consistent across the board? I don't think so. There's just not a lot of content about how they're interacting with their customers now, and it's kind of understandable in one breath, because a lot of people have been laid off, right? So the dealerships don't necessarily have a lot of people to put that content up. But really, it's getting the message out about how consumers can interact with them. We've seen a huge increase in lead volume, but I think that's also because consumers know that they can't call the dealership now. There's nobody there to pick up the phone, right? So we've also seen this huge increase in digital retailing, right? Because consumers still want to buy cars. They've got to do more of that stuff online, and they can't negotiate with a sales rep, right? There's nobody in front of them to talk to. So they've got to do a lot of that stuff online. In that perspective, I'm really interested to see what happens when we go back to whatever normal is, and see if consumers still do that. And if we've actually turned the corner as an industry to digital retailing being the next thing. Happens when everybody has the option to get.
Are you finding that there are stores that don't have digital retailing yet?
Sure. I think it's a fundamental process that some dealerships, there's still old school dealerships that just don't, they want the customer to come in, right? They don't want to do all this stuff online because they want to have more control over the sales process than doing it in a digital tool, which is certainly understandable in one breath, right? I think what they don't understand, though, is that it's information, right? Consumers just want information. Most of the website providers don't have the ability to calculate lease and finance payments in their payment calculator, at least not if you add in F&I products and change down payments and all of that type of stuff. So really what the digital retailing tools are is a lot more information for consumers. And I think the more information we give them, the more information they're going to consume. But, I think eventually, like everything, there's the early adopters, there's those that go, okay, they did it, now I'm going to do it. And then there's the guys at the end who say, I'm not going to do this until somebody tells me that I have to.
Right.
So,
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Once or twice, right?
So what kind of advice would you give someone who's just starting out in marketing? Maybe they're in sales right now, or maybe they're not in sales at all. Maybe they're in some sort of a marketing role, like an account management position, but maybe they're looking to find a way to gain more knowledge and expertise within the marketing realm? What area would you suggest they focus on, and how would you suggest they go about doing that?
Well, when we both first started just, being an adult, right? A lot of the stuff that's available to kids today wasn't available to us. Like when I entered the workforce, Google didn't exist. Right. Like I couldn't go on and get AdWords certified or watch YouTube videos about how to do Photoshop or, get Blueprint certified on Facebook. None of those things existed for you and I. We had to learn that kind of over the course of time, and a lot through experience. Somebody starting out today can get certified in AdWords and Facebook. They could learn how to code on YouTube. They can do Photoshop and Dreamweaver and Illustrator. There's really no limit to the things that you can learn on your own now. So my advice would be really like, what area of marketing do you want to go into, right? Is it the physically running campaigns and strategizing like with Google and Facebook? And then you can go and get certified in those things. Do you like the content development? Do you want to, learn how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and Dreamweaver? Do you really like SEO and that type of stuff? Then, you should probably take an HTML course or CSS and understand how the websites actually work and are designed. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much that you can do online today. So that would be step one. Just kind of figure out what you want to do. Obviously you can take all of those things. And then, for somebody just starting out, even if they don't have a job, just go get an internship. I mean, you can walk into pretty much any dealership in the country today and say, I'd like to work in the marketing department for free. And they're going to say yes.
True.
Right? I don't know if a single GM who's going to be like, no, we don't want free help, right? Of course.
Yeah.
So, it's the same old story of whether it's, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan of hard work pays off. So just go do it. Go do it and work at it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of endless what is at your fingertips today. So,
very true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just have one last question for you.
Okay.
And this wasn't on the list of questions that I sent you. I was going to ask.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
What are you reading right now?
What am I reading? Okay, so I just finished a book about the Texas Rangers and the original Texas Rangers, like Cowboys and Indians.
Okay.
That's a real story of Cynthia Ann Parker. She was the first Native American woman taken by the Comanches in Texas who didn't want to return. So she ends up getting married to the chief, one of the chiefs of the Comanche Indians. They have a bunch of children together, and it's the story from 1818 and ends when the son dies right around 1898, 99. I don't remember exactly. That I just finished. I'm almost through now another book that's partly true about World War II. It's the parallel story of a German soldier and a young blind girl from Paris, and their paths cross.
Oh, I just got chills.
It's loosely based on real events, but it's a fiction novel, so it's he makes lots of liberties about.
What is that one called?
Where did I check? That is All the Light We Cannot See.
Oh, that looks really good.
That's a New York Times bestseller. And then I've got about 100 pages left in that. And then the next one is called The Great Influenza.
Ooh.
So this is the book when George W. Bush starts the original pandemic team in 2005. That's the book he read that made him go, oh my God, we're not prepared, and we need to throw millions and billions of dollars at this to be prepared for the impending pandemic. And so that's the New York Times bestseller. It's an actual story about the whole 1918 pandemic flu, Spanish flu. So I'm really excited to read that one because that's going to tell lots of stuff that's probably going to happen here.
Well, I'll have to check it out. Thanks, Matt.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.